if they tried anything after they went back from the session, feel free to sort of chime in. So Biswas is asking, where was the file sent?
The
Raj?
file has been sent to mail. You can check your mail that you have provided, Biswas.
Raj, can you also sort of give that privilege to Ritesh as well? I think I see he's in the meeting too.
Hello, everyone.
Hey Ritesh, good evening.
Hey, Ashutosh.
Can I give you that privilege? Let's see. Yeah, I think I can. Perfect. Oh, my bad. Raj, it would be really hard for me to sort of handle the waiting room as well. So I'm giving you the co-host.
Yes, sure,
Can you take care of that?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. All right. I guess not a lot of people have comments after the last session, so I'll let that be. And we are expecting similar amount of people this session as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I am looking at these.
Sir, could you make Satyam the co-host as well?
For sure. I'm looking for his name. There you go. Done. He should be the co-host now.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Raj. Ashutosh,
Mhm.
are you with us?
Yep, I am here.
Oh, great.
Sir, I think we can start in next 2 minutes.
Okay, that's good. Maybe I can pull something up in the meantime. I don't like these silences while people are joining in. Just give me one quick second. I don't have anything, so I'll just put this up. All right, so folks who are in the call, just use your annotation button, use your stamp or anything, and just let us know how you're feeling today. Are you feeling totally energized, slightly drained? Just to get the lay of the land of how people are feeling today.
The second one from the right, I would
Second
say.
from the on the right. Okay.
No, from the right.
Okay. So I guess Ritesh put that in. Ritesh, what happened? Why are you so negative today?
So that's me, and it's because I just heard that Afghanistan lost to New Zealand, so we are officially out of World Cup.
Oh
So
God.
that's the reason.
Uh-huh. Okay, I was not aware. I'm way too out of touch from these things. I
Yeah.
have to pay more attention to sports now. All right. No worries. Hard luck, I guess. Let's
Yeah.
see. Hopefully, India can make a good exit. By that, I mean, the rest of the games can be better.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I see only 3 people have marked. Other people are not feeling anything, or are they just out of the scale? I guess.
Maybe people are not aware about the annotation feature of Zoom.
Well, I hope they are, because I
Okay.
guess people are. You guys are attending your calls on Zoom, right? If I'm assuming that correctly.
Yes, Zoom and Google Meet.
Zoom and Google Meet. Okay. So trust me, Ritesh, they know more about Zoom
Oh,
than
yes. Yeah, I agree.
us. With all of our restrictions, we don't even have all of the Zoom features available to us.
That is so true.
All right. So couple of people. All right. We have one who feels very bad. Would you care to elaborate? Again, this is a safe space, so don't hold back, I guess.
The person is probably feeling bad about the cricket match too.
Oh, that's true. That's true, Rashmi. I agree. A lot of passionate people about cricket in India, so that's to be expected, to be honest. All right. So we are close to 32. I'll look over to you, Rashmi, Raj, and Satyam to let
Yeah.
us know
Yeah, Rashmi,
when
you
to
can
start.
start.
All right. In that case, if you want me to stop sharing, Rashmi, do let me know.
Okay, sir. Okay. I'll be starting with the meet.
Okay. Do you need me to stop share?
It's fine, okay.
Okay, perfect. Please go on.
Okay. So good evening everyone again. I am Rashmi and I welcome you all to this 4-day long informative Excel workshop which is being organized by SP IIT ISM student chapter. We had a session on the 1st of November on data cleaning. The meet was streamed on YouTube and can be viewed on SP's YouTube channel for reference. So we dealt with the basics of data cleaning and today we will be talking about data visualization. Data visualization is the process of translating large data sets and metrics into charts, graphs, and other visuals. So, the resulting visual representation of the data makes it much more easier to identify and share the real time trends, the outliers, and the new insights about the information represented in the data. So, to equip us with some very important Excel skills today, we have with us our alumni. Mr. Ritesh Singh, Reservoir Engineer at ExxonMobil, and Mr. Ashutosh Kujur, who is the team lead Reservoir Engineer at ExxonMobil. We thank both of you for sparing your time to address this insightful session. Now I'll hand over the stage to you.
All right. Thanks, Rashmi, for that really good introduction again. I guess second time for me, first time for Ritesh. So before I hand over to Ritesh for first half of the session, I'll quickly sort of go over the room and ask folks if they had any questions, any follow-ups, or any queries regarding the first session before we dive into the second session deeper. Okay, I'll give it 5 more seconds. We have a lot to cover, so I'll not be as generous with my time or counter today. All right, I guess that's a no. So I'll sort of quickly kick off the session saying that today we'll be looking at different ways you can visualize stuff in Excel, but that will not only include just say making graphs and stuff. We'll try to incorporate what we learned in the day one, right? The session one, and try to go from a raw data to a data which can be actually easily manipulated and visualized in Excel. So we'll be touching upon some core concepts that we have seen, and we'll also take you through an interactive working session of sorts to help you sort of understand what our thought process is when we first get the raw data. So with that being said, I'll sort of again reiterate the ground rules that we have. So yes, again, please feel free to sort of stop us anytime, because we want this to be an informal session just to make sure that everyone gets the most out of it. And yes, again, if you feel that we are going way too slow or way too fast for your pace, ask us to slow down or pick up the pace accordingly. With that, I will hand it over to Ritesh to take it from here.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you, Rashmi, for the quick introduction. So before we go into the details of workshop, let me just quickly share with you a small story which I wanted to share with everyone in the group. That so I am Ritesh. I'm a 2015 graduate from Indian School of Mines. I spent my 5 years with Kane Oil and Gas, working mainly on production optimization, artificial lift, surveillance, and then only last year I joined ExxonMobil, and then here I'm supporting thermal simulation workflows. Now, the story which I wanted to share was the first day when I joined Kane, and it was my first day with the reservoir stint. And I was very passionate about reservoir engineering section, especially for our amongst our petroleum engineering segments. So it was a day where I was feeling very proud of myself for being here and going to work on my first project. Unfortunately, that proud moment lasted for only till 12 p.m. of the day. Because when I looked at the first project which I was given, the project was very simple. It was just to analyze the trends of various wells, do a decline curve analysis, and give a forecasted production based on my estimate for few wells. Now, the tagline was simple, but when I saw the details of the project, the analysis had to be done for 400 wells, which were kept at different locations, and the history of production was 10 years. And in those 10 years of span, those files were prepared by separate engineers. So the format, the annotations, the nomenclatures of every single of those files were different. Like 10 of those files were of similar format, and then it was totally different. And then I had to find a way to, before going into all the classical studies which I have read in my college, and before delivering on the final analysis and final results, which was, by the way, expected to be done within 2 working days, to get to that extent, I had to do a lot of data cleaning and data processing, right? And me being a newbie to Excel was not even aware how to do these basic cleanup things which Ashutosh talked about in the last session, and a lot of things which we'll be discussing in today's session, like how to create a unique ID, what is a VLOOKUP function, what all things which can be done, what all are the various kinds of plots which can be made in Excel, what are the extents to which you can work with these tools. So I was not aware of that, and instead of delivering that project in 2 days, it took me weeks to get that done. Now the reason why I want to share the story with you is that, okay, when you join a company and when you have completed your college course, you might be totally you have your basic concepts clear, and which I tell you is the first most thing that needs to be done, because if you don't have that clear, then all these additional skills will not be of much benefit to you if you want to be a good petroleum engineer. So that is the first thing, but these skills will help you create your own image and develop you into the career of your into the career in the company that you're going to join. So that's a small story. That's a small story which I wanted to share with you all. That why do we need to get a lot of why do we need to have some good skills in these segments as well? And also one more thing which I eventually have to hand it over to Ashutosh, because he has all the contents there. But one thing which I wanted to share was that only by learning or by seeing these sessions or by following what we are going to share in today's session, just reiterating that is just the first step. Unless and until you apply these learnings in every single or in most of the aspects of your course or your projects, it won't be adding much benefit to you. So not just seeing what we are showing here and not just having these in some of your folders in your laptops will be helping you, but try to apply these concepts in whichever project, be it small, be it big, in your upcoming sessions. That's a small talk which I wanted to share with you all, that why are we conducting these sessions, what all are you going to see, and what will be its benefits down the line. And with that, Ashutosh, would you like to take over?
Thanks, Ritesh. Yeah, I can take over, but I'll just add one thing to your small spiel there is what we are trying to sort of help you guys here is understand some techniques and some capabilities of Excel. But what we actually want you to sort of also eventually come to is just try to understand the thought process that goes into it, because there are a lot of ways you can do this. And if you are, say, adept in any other programming languages or any other softwares, same thing can be done there. But if you are not aware of what can be done, that is where it causes an issue. So just try to make sure that you can in a sense try to follow what the thought process is and build on it based on what your requirement is. All right, with that, I would ask you guys if you have the Excel file that I sent over with you or not. Can anyone confirm if they have it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have one yes. I have 36 people on call. What about the other ones?
Yes, sir, we have the file.
Yes, sir.
You guys have the file? Perfect. So what I will ask you to do is keep that file in a folder somewhere and leave it for now. All right. So I have it with me, but just in case, give me just one quick second. Just making sure that I work on a new file. All right. So just drop it in a folder somewhere. And once you have done so, open that file once. So the reason why we are opening the file is just trying to get to understand how our data looks. And then we'll go from there. So just open your files. And again, sorry for putting you guys on spot, but I would ask you, ask for a volunteer to sort of let us know what they think when they see the data like this. Are there any things that you can derive from this straight away? Are there any preliminary, very preliminary analysis that you will do, or type of things that you will look at before you even start data cleaning? Anyone wants to take that? Come on, guys, it's not that hard. You just have to.
So we will look for blank
Sorry.
data.
Okay, blank data,
Sure.
perfect. And anything else that you will look at?
For formatting, like for date, we have date format.
That's good. That's really, really good. Anything else that you will try to check?
And the missing data, like there is no blank data, but we can see like
If there is
is
any missing data. Okay.
missing data.
All right. That's good. But apart from that, so that was really, really good. But that can be the next step. First thing that I would have wanted you to do is just to take a look at what these different sheets have, right? So if I take a look at here in sheet B1, so this one is for a well B1, which is a gas injector, and I have these headers, right? So these headers can be my columns. Does that make sense? And then if I go to my other sheets, there's a small issue, right? Now we have a producer. We don't have a gas injector anymore. And now our column headers are different. Not all of them, some of them, right? So what I'm trying to understand is what sort of data I have, where do I have it, and how does it look, and how can I combine it later so that I can use it effectively for visualizing, right? For example, again, I'll ask for a volunteer. If I were to ask you to make a plot which shows me, say, oil production from well B2 along with oil production from well B3, how would you guys do it? Anyone has any approaches in their mind? No one? Seriously?
Sir, we will select a produced water. Sorry, I mean this oil column from this sheet and B1 sheet and date, and we'll go to insert and do some.
Okay, insert a chart, right? Like that, right? Okay, yeah, that is one way of doing it. But what if I say that in the same chart, if I say change the value in a cell and it has to change from B1 to B2 or B2 to B3, right? So that cannot be done if our data looks like this, right? If our columns are somewhere here and they're arranged in this way, right? So first thing that I would ask you guys to do is, so follow me closely today, because we are going to do a lot of operations. And yeah, if you guys are not able to follow, stop me then and there, or it might be too late later on to backtrack. All right. So with that, what I'll ask you to do is, so what I've done here is, if you take a look at my cursor mouse below, so I'm selecting, so select the first sheet here, press shift, and then select the last sheet. What this will do is, this will select all the sheets, and any operations that you do on sheet 1 will happen in all the sheets, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is insert now. So I have inserted a column, and I'm quickly going to show you. There you go. It has inserted a column in all of the sheets, right? So I'll do that again, select it again, go here, say well, right? Because I need a column named well. And what I'll do is straight away do this. So I selected D4 where my wellbore alias is. I'm not using the complete name. I don't like using complete names, but this is my personal preference. So I just selected this and then pressed F4. So what F4 does is it tells Excel what sort of reference this has to be. So for now, my reference won't move in either of the, I should say, it won't change with column or it won't change with row. All right. And the next thing that I'll do is just double tap. So for each and every entry that I have here, I have a well name against it, right? So this is the first thing that I'm going to do. With that, if everyone has done that, just save your file and close it. But before I do that, I'll just ask once again, is anyone stuck on this step or are we good to go? Is this like grouping the whole book? Jiva, you asked us, is this grouping? Oh, Ritesh already answered. Yes. So that grouping will come next. Funny, I see you are unmuted. Do you have any question?
No.
Okay, perfect. So I guess everyone has that. So what I did was went ahead and closed that file. Now create a new Excel file right in that same folder. All right. So just say dashboard, or say I'll just write session 2. Right. So once the new file is open, I'll just wait for a couple more seconds for people to do that, and then I'll go to the next one. Okay, so a quick check. Are you which version of Excel are you guys using? Can you tell me that? Is it 2016, 2013, 2019? Which Excel version do you guys have? Just to make sure that what we are trying to do is available to everyone. 16. Okay, I heard 16.
Yes, so 16.
Oh, perfect. In
Yes,
that case,
16.
16, right? Thanks, Satyam. Thanks, Raj and Funny. All right. So next thing that we are going to do, I'm not really sure, 2010. All right. So Meghma, for you, I would suggest, can you quickly go on the web and download Power Query?
Okay.
Yeah, just go there and write Power Query. Download Power Query. Hopefully, if I can find it, I'll drop a link for you in the chat. 17.6. Okay, perfect. I'll drop it in the chat for you. Just use the link. It's 17 MB, so it should not take long. Meanwhile, I'll try to do this and let us know if you can see it or not. So for the folks who have, yep, no problem. If you, for the folks who have 2016 and 2019 or 2016 and above, go to data, go to get data, from file, from workbook. I'll reiterate it again. From the ribbon, go to data, go to get data, from file and from workbook. And then with that, go to where you have saved your original file. And make sure that you have saved the changes that we have done before. All right. And do an import. So you should see a navigator page like this. So I'll wait for here for a couple of seconds. I'll wait for people to let me know if they have reached this step or not. 2019, that's perfect.
Sir, this preview is like a Power BI.
Yes, this is exactly like Power BI. So what I can tell you is Power Query was something independently developed by Microsoft, and then it was incorporated as a querying tool in both Excel and in Power BI. And that is why this window looks exactly the same as it looks in Power BI. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, so I'm hoping everyone has this. Anyone has any questions until now? All right, I guess not. So next thing that you do is select multiple items here So on the radio box, just check that and select everything. Okay, Ranjit, I see you have raised your hand. Do you have any questions? Or was it by mistake? You're on mute if you're trying to say something. You didn't get the data. Raj, can you please take care of that?
Yes, sure. So I'll drop the file here itself in the chat.
In the Zoom chat. Okay, if you want me to do it, I'll just drop the new file. Just give me one quick second.
In the meantime, I would request also to please drop the mail in the chat box so that from next time this doesn't happen.
Yep. All right, so the file is here and this should have the well names in it as well. All right, so before moving forward, Meghma, any luck on your end? Were you able to install it?
Yes, sir, it's going on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, do let us know. So Ritesh can also help in troubleshooting in the meantime. So if you want to have any questions, either interrupt me or drop a question in the chat. All right, so next thing that I'm going to do is don't click on load. So what that load will do is it will pull all the data that it has for all these sheets and put it in a table in different worksheets. All right, so we don't want to do that. So the next thing that we'll do is click on transform data. So if you guys sort of remember, this is again not a part of visualization yet, but we are still cleaning our data, right? So can anyone tell me what is wrong with the data that is imported here? Anyone wants to take a wild guess?
Sir, it is having many null values, which will consume more energy. More memory.
Yep, that's one way to put it. That's correct. And apart from that, we also have a lot of unused columns, right?
Yes.
Which will cause a lot of issues. So if you were to ever take a count, it will also cause that issue. So what we are going to do now is, if you guys remember, we said that this is going to be our header, correct? And this is actually 8 rows below. So what we're going to do next is, in all of these queries, again, I'm not really sure if I can do it at once or not, but I'll try it anyway. So I've selected all the queries. What I'm going to do next is click on remove rows, the drop down for remove rows, and remove top rows. All right, and say I want to remove the top 8 rows because then my header will be the top row. All right, so do this. Now if you see, my header is the top row, and the next thing that I do is use first row as headers. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so it does not apply to everyone. So I'll quickly do it 4 more times for other stuff. In the meantime, you guys can do it on your end as well. So these are just 2 steps: remove top rows, number of rows 8, and used first row as a header. In the meantime, Ritesh, if you have anything that you want to sort of chime in, please feel free to do so if I'm missing out anything.
Yeah, sure. I think you are covering well till now.
Okay. Ranjit, the data has been shared in the chat box.
Yeah. So you should see an XLSX file. You can download it from there. All right. So folks, I'll need you to confirm once you are at the same stage as me, because next stages we'll have to do together.
Guys, maybe if you are done with this step, you can annotate on the screen.
Yeah, you can either annotate on the screen or just raise your hand or something. Maybe annotate on the screen. So Fani is done.
Sir, could you please show that again, the remove column step?
Remove row or column? Row, right? Okay, no worries. I'll show that to you again.
The data just loaded and
okay. No worries. Yeah, so feel free to sort of stop me if it's slow for you guys. All right. So again, just have a look here. So remove top rows, right? So on the ribbon, go to home, remove rows, remove top rows. And we remove the top 8 rows because our header is on the 9th. We want to keep that. Press OK. All right. Let me know when you're done with this.
All right, sir.
Perfect. And the next thing is use first row as headers, and under transform, use first row as headers, and repeat the same for everything. And just keep in mind, we had one where there were different column headers. So we'll sort of take care of that later on, but just letting you guys know.
Okay, so I was done with it.
Done. Perfect. I still don't see any annotations. Come on, guys. Kindly send data to my mail.
Yeah, I've sent.
Sent, right?
You can check. Yeah, I've sent it.
Perfect. All right. So I'm assuming, since none of you annotated or asked any questions, that you guys are done. So what I'll ask you to do is just check in your respective sheets that you don't have any columns which are unused, right? So for example, injected gas average density is the last column for me, which makes sense. But if I go to B2, if I scroll to the right, I have columns which are column 12 to column 19, right? Which I am not going to use. So I'll select the first column. I'll click on column 12, press shift, click on column 19, right click and remove columns. So I'm removing all the unwanted columns here. All right. So just cleaning some data just to make sure that I don't have to deal with these useless columns anymore, at least. All right. So I'll search for all of these and remove them in any of the sheets that I have. Okay. So that is it. So for B1 through B5, that is what you need to do. And the next thing that I usually like to do is, I know that everything apart from well name and date, everything else should be decimal, right? So what I usually like to do is go ahead and change everything to decimal. So I just go here again, select everything and change it to a decimal. I didn't select everything. Just to make sure that there are no issues later on, because you guys can imagine, right? If there are any values which were supposed to be decimals but were converted into whole numbers, for example, oil, right? We would only see 395 and we'll not see the decimals. So what will that happen? What will that causes? You will have an error which is also known as truncation error. If you have guys, if you would have studied that in your first year in college during CS. So it will be a small error on a daily basis, but on a cumulative basis, it will add days on end. And if you have data worth, say, multiple decades, it will lead to a very big error in that case. All right. So with that, did you guys have any questions up until now? Because the next step is going to be tricky now. All right. So what I am getting here is everyone is okay until now. So I'll move on to the next step, and that is we are appending all of our data. All right. So there are two options in Excel. One is to merge and another is to append. So what appending does is, if I select all the tables here, it will just take the tables and add them on top of each other. It will not do any sort of lookup or any search criteria based searches to get matches from the table. It will straight away copy and paste the data from each of the tables on top of each other, right? But if I were to do a merge, it will use 1, 2, 3, how many columns you want as criteria, along with certain filters if you want to provide, as a basis to merge multiple tables. All right. So criteria versus copy paste. So I'll just say append. All right. So if you take a look at this here, it just says table combine. And if I were to scroll down enough, I would see B1, then B2, then B3, then B4, then B5, all the wells here. Okay. With that, just to make sure that we don't have any issues, what I'm going to do next is okay, we don't have that. Before I go any further, I should actually stop and ask if anyone has any questions, or have you guys reached the step? So it's really hard for me to sort of judge if you guys don't drop it in chat or annotate or say if you are sort of following or not.
Yes, sir, we are with you.
You're with me. Perfect. So I have one reply until now. I'm just waiting for. I'll just wait for another, say, 5 or 10 seconds and then move to the next one.
I think we can move on, Ashutosh.
Yep. All right. Okay, in that case, let's move on. What I'll do now next is close and load to, let's say, table for now. All right. So this is how it should look for you. So it should create multiple sheets, right? I'll just delete this one. And all of these sheets should have data for the respective wells. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use all of these sheets. I'm going to use the sheet where I have data for everything appended in one. All right. So I'll just go ahead and hide those sheets, and I'll just say prod production injection data. All right. So this is what we have for the time being. While you guys are doing that, I'll quickly check where we are.
Sir, we have to hit on close and load after we do append.
Yep.
We are getting two options. First one is close and load. Second one is close and load to.
Say select close and load.
Okay.
This is my first session. I have the data, but I am not. So, Mridal, I'm not really sure which file you're trying to open. Is it the text file or is it the Excel file?
Text file, sir.
No. So the new one is in the new the file that for the file that we are using for this session is actually the Excel file. So if I'll just drop it in the chat again. So just take a look at the chat. The file should be there momentarily. All right, it's there. Use this file to sort of pull the data. So that is our source file, and all of our data is being pulled to this one. And now if you take a quick look, right? So even after loading, this is what I usually do. I usually go ahead and check if there are any blanks, right? So if you see here, there still are blanks. What do you guys think might have caused this? Anyone has any clue?
Sir, actually, by seeing this, we can observe that maybe the IoT sensor had not worked at that time, or
Can it be IoT sensor, or can it be the way we are importing the data? Can that also have an issue?
yes, sir, maybe because we had done append. In append, if cells will not match, it will have like this. Maybe, sir.
Okay, all right. So what I'll do now is just quickly save this file for now. All right, I'll minimize this. I'll go back to my original file and just try to see what happened wrong. Right. So I'm on my first sheet here. If I go down, there are no blanks. There are no certain blanks that I can see, at least against the well name. Right. There are certain data here. But if I go to say B2 and if I go down, do you see this? There are a lot of well names which are pulled down, but we don't have data here. So we'll obviously get blanks. Anyone wants to guess why this happened this way? Why B1 didn't have any blanks versus B2, which has blanks? And let's check B3, which also has blanks. Anyone wants to take a wild guess?
Sir, this may be because we don't have same number of dates in all of the Excel
Correct.
files.
Exactly. So all the sheets don't have same amount of dates. So our injector, what happened at the injector is injector started in 2004 versus our producers, which started a bit late. So they haven't put in a date here, but if I go to the first column here, 2007, right? So we have different dates. So what I'll do, go ahead and do now here is go down and remove all the excess rows that I have. So I'll do the same for all the other producers. So while I'm doing this on my end, I would request you guys to follow me and do it from your end as well. So just clean this, right? So data cleaning is not a one-way street. Once you have say, once you think you're done in one or your original sheet and then you import your data, sometimes things like this can happen. And you might have to revisit your original sheet just to ensure that you're not missing out on anything basic such as this, right? Because as sort of Funny was trying to say, right, this the source of this error can be multiple things. Maybe our transmitter was not working, maybe we had a communication delay, or maybe we had a blackout because of which there was no electricity and the communication device was not functioning in a sense. But it can also be due to, well, wrong data pulls, right? So we just have to make sure that it is not a human induced error while we are working on it, but rather an actual equipment failure. So this also helps us sort of quickly find that out. So I'll save this now, and I hope you guys have done that as well. And what I'll do now is go to data, query as and connection, and just hit refresh. Actually, I have to refresh everything. So I'll just quickly refresh everything. All right. So let's see if we have any. Okay, we still have some, and that can be fixed. So I'm going back to edit again. And what I'll do now is this is really interesting. This did not happen before. All right, guys, give me one quick second. And while I'm checking all of this, let me know if you guys are stuck somewhere. Ritesh and I will try to answer your questions in the meantime. Okay. So I'm not really sure why I'm not seeing it here. Ritesh, a quick question. No, do you remember how we removed the blank?
Yeah, I think we went to that query editor and removed blanks from there. We did not go this way, right?
Query editor. No, we are in the query editor. Because for some reason, if you see here, I can see it here, but the
Yes.
second I click here, I don't see that option anymore.
Ah,
So it's
it's
weird.
strange.
It's really strange. I have no idea what happened.
Are you selecting the wells column?
I'm selecting. Well, it should come up with any of the columns. Not really sure why it's not. All right, no worries. I have a solution for that, but I'll need folks to be with me. If not, this will be change type, merge columns. No, please don't. Do you guys see an option to say clear or remove empty rows? Let me quickly open it again.
Sir, Ashutosh sir, funny here. Sir, what I did is that I selected all the cells. So I went to find and select. There I selected blanks. And,
no. I'm just trying to. I know what you're trying to say, but I'm just trying to make sure that if we can do it from here, we can do it from here, because there are a couple of things. So these things are really automated. So whenever you update the main file, you don't have to do it again. So I just wanted to make sure that we can do it from here. But I understand what you're trying to say.
Yes.
All right. So give me one quick second while I try to understand what is happening to find. And this, I hope all right. So I'll delete this for now. I'll append it again.
So there is a question on YouTube channel. Is it possible to selectively use data from larger sets?
Yes. So if you want to selectively use, all you have to do is go ahead and add a filter here. So for example, even though I selected everything, right? If I say only wanted B1, sorry, everything except B1, I'll just select that. So B1 will be removed from the set. So this is how you do it. And if I were to go in advanced editor, this will show you how you can write your own sort of code if the option is directly not available. So you can work on the direct set. And now I remembered how I do it. So if you guys can come back to this query editor, and the way you come back is right click, edit. All right. And once you are here, just click on well and uncheck null and press OK. So we'll do this. We'll do this for now, since we don't have an option to remove. This also works. And if now I were to do a control down, yeah, there you go. I don't see any blanks anymore. I have no idea why this was not functioning as it should. But yeah, that is how it is. Let me know if you have any questions until now, and then we'll move to the next step.
So please repeat that last step, sir.
Last step. Okay, no worries. Edit. So go to data first from the ribbon. Go to queries and connection. If you click on it, you should see it on the right here. And if you guys remember, we are working on the appended data set, right? So just click on it, edit. It will take you to the appended data set here. Go to well, select load more, and uncheck null, right? Because we only want our well data. We don't want any nulls. And just press OK. And then close and load. and you should have it.
Okay, sir.
All right, perfect. Next thing. All right. So next thing is slightly important, and to be honest, I don't see a lot of people doing it. Although I don't know why they don't do it, but what I like to do is, do you know what metadata is? I hope you guys do. It is the data that we usually get about, for example, if I were to go here and take a look at this file, the date modified, type, and size are the metadata, right? And similarly for if we have wells, so what would be the metadata for our wells? So if you remember, if you open our original file, I'll open it again. Give me one quick second. This would be our metadata, right? Well name and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a list that I'll be using for my reference and for others' reference, so that they can understand whenever they see well B1. If they don't know what that B1 means, they can come back here and take a look at what that well meant, right? So I'll just type. So we know that B1 is a gas injector and everything else is a producer, right? So I'll just write this gas injector, a producer. There you go. And then the next thing that I'll do is, okay, I have that. Next thing that I want is just want to know when our data starts and when our data ends. So for that, start date and date. Okay. All right. So is everyone following me up till now? Because this is going to be interesting. This I'm not really sure if you guys have used this formula or not, but this formula is going to be very interesting. Okay, I'll take that as an X. Yes. So for new folks who are using 2019 and above, will see this formula maxifs. But for folks who are using the older version, will not see maxif. So what we are going to do is, well, we should start with minimum because we want minimum date first. Is so what I'm writing right now is an array formula. And again, if I'm not really sure if you guys have used it or not, but this is how you use it. Wait a second, I'm missing something here. I don't want to play right now. I'll play later. XLSM. All right. Yeah, even I tend to forget these formulas a lot. Okay. Anyone wants to sort of let us know if you have used an array formula before or not? Oh my God, my bad. So once you have done writing this formula, what you have to do is Control Shift Enter. So don't press enter, you'll have to press Control Shift Enter or it won't work. And then next. And again, if this step is hard for you guys, you can leave it be, because we don't need this necessarily. This is something that I like to do, so I'm doing it anyways here. All right. Next, usually what I like to do is keep a list of the parameters that I might encounter. Because sometimes what I actually like to do is put in drop-in boxes similar to filters in Power BI and such, which we can use to sort of filter through our data very quickly. So these will be my parameters. So a quick check with everyone. Are you guys following, or should I repeat something?
Yes, a bit behind.
So do you want me to repeat something for you?
No, sir. I'll catch it.
Okay, because all right, it's going to get fast now. Perfect. So the next sheet that we'll make is, say, a dashboard, right? So now you need to ask yourself a question on what you're going to use this dashboard for, or say visualization for. For example, one thing that you might want to do is, say, since you have multiple parameters, right? If you take a look at, for example, all of these parameters at once, you might not be able to make sense of it. So what if you only want to, say, plot couple of these parameters at once? What will you do in that case? So in that case, maybe let's start from scratch, right? Maybe I can do a quick data validation box here. So if you go to data validation, drop down and select data validation again, go to list, go to source, and select all of these and press OK. So what this will do is this will give me a quick drop down that I can use to select whichever well I want, right? So a very quick way of sort of sorting through wells. And then next I thought that maybe what I can look at is, say, 4 different parameters. So 4 parameters, and I select all of 4 cells. I'll do a data validation again, list, and go back and select the list. Now you guys might be sort of wondering, or might be realizing why I make a sheet like this, because any references similar to this, I can straight away go back to this sheet and make it from there. I don't have to sort of sort through multiple sheets and try to understand, okay, what was my, or where my sort of data for all the drop downs come from. So I don't have to worry about that, because now I have everything in a single place, right? So I have the dashboard here. I have, so what I want here is, if I select a well, I should see its trend, and all of these that I've selected, I want all of these trends, but I want to keep this clean, and I don't want to sort of make a mess by pulling all the data here, right? So what I'll do next is sort of make a new sheet, and I'll say, for example, name it lookup sheet, right? And what I'll have here is, say, date, and this is where this will come in handy. So we know where the data starts or minimum date is. So I'll just put in minimum date. I change its short date, and I'll pull it down. So I'll pull it down till the date where we actually have data for all of these wells. So if I remember correctly, it was somewhere around 2020. And I put it 2025. So 6/1/2020. And just make sure that the usual conventions that we use in India are, say, day, month, and year, right? But in other places, it's usually month, day, and year. So just make sure that you don't have that issue, or our data doesn't have this issue. All right, I see Ritesh had to drop off. 6/1/2020. There you go. So I have the entire length now for data. And what I'll do next is I know for a well, so maybe I can put in the well here. So I'm linking this cell to this particular cell. It will tell me which well to look at. And then what I'm looking at next is, say, my first parameter here. My second parameter here. My third parameter here. So just to give you guys a context, sometimes you are not able to click on the cell directly, and that is because of the boxes that we put in or data validation that we put in. So just select this cell adjacent to that box or that cell, maybe here, and just press a left arrow key, and it will take you to that cell in these references. All right. Everyone following me until now, or any questions on why we are doing this?
So the date that you pulled up to 2025, can it be working if we pull it to 2021 as well?
Yeah, you can pull it to anything, but I usually, just to make sure that my sheets are not big, I usually make sure that I check what the end dates are, and I put the maximum end date as my last date, right?
Yeah,
so it can handle all the data that we throw at it while being small, if that makes sense. All right.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Anyone wants to volunteer, or anyone wants to guess what we'll do next? How will we get these data? No one, seriously? All right, no problem. I just hope you guys are following. If not, let me know. So what we're going to do next is we're going to try to look up the data, right? So we'll be using VLOOKUP to pull data from this sheet to this sheet. But can anyone tell me what problem we can run into? Because, for example, we only want data for a specific well, whereas we have data for all the wells combined on top of each other. Can anyone try to think of a way on how we can pull data for only a specific well and not all of them, or not have any duplication while we're doing this?
So can we sort the data for the well B1 or B2, and then we can pull the data?
We can do that, but the second you select a different well here, will you go ahead and sort it again? Or because it will be a pain, right? Because every time you look up a new well, you'll have to sort the data. So thanks for sort of speaking up. What I usually do is do this, right? So for example, I don't have any unique ID for any of these things, right? But what if I do this? Concatenate, right? This. If I concatenate well with the date, will that be unique? Will this field be unique or not? What do you guys think?
Yes, sir.
Because for each and every well, date is only occurring once, right? We don't have multiples in date. I'll just quickly drag it through. So just do this. Oh my God. I have to go till 25,000 rows. All right. So we'll be using this unique ID to look up the data. Okay. And does anyone remember why we are putting the UID here and not appending it at the end? Okay, if you guys don't remember, not an issue. I'll let you know, and that is because VLOOKUP does not work if your primary column is not the first column, or the column that you're looking for, that you're using for looking up the value. If it is not the first column, it won't work, and that is one of the limitations of VLOOKUPs, right? So now, if you guys remember, we were selecting which column to sort of look up data for, right? But if we used VLOOKUP straight away and use a number for a column, we won't be able to dynamically change our column, right? So instead, what we'll do is we'll use a match function. Oh my God. Match function. And our lookup value will be the column name, right? And then our lookup array will be this. Match type 0 and range 0. All right, so I'm not really sure if you guys have the same sheets as me or not, but I'll put the formula, because this is big, in the chat so that you can model your formula accordingly as well. All right. Does anyone know why we might be getting NA here? And not here? Just take a wild guess. Okay, so maybe I'll let you know. The reason why you're getting NAs here is because your lookup function was not able to find any matches. And the reason for that is, if you remember, for your producers, right here, your data starts from 2007, right? And only data prior to that is for gas injector. So if I were to change it to B1, you will not see errors anymore because that has data. But if I go here and change it back to B2, you will see an error again. All right. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'll just select these, insert graphs. I usually like to use scatter plot, so I'll just stick with that for now. And I'll be here. A couple of quick changes that I'll do. Anything below 0, I don't want it. Major, minor, let it be as is. All right. And then so now I have a plot. So we have gas as well, and that is why it is sort of skewing our scales. But if I move my file here, and if I say, for example, remove gas for the time being, now you can see, right? I also add legend on top. I'm moving these. Perfect. So we have WHP, right? And now if I change my well, it changes accordingly. Sorry, did someone have any question?
No, sir, it was bad.
Okay, no problem. So is everyone here, or does anyone has any questions? All right. I'm guessing we don't have any questions. So in the meantime, no one has any problem with the lookup here or putting up a dash here? Eight 13. All right. If not, sorry, go ahead.
Could you please explain this parameter 3? Why it is put as dash?
Oh, I just put it. The reason why I put in dash is, for example, if you don't want to look at all the parameters, right? If you only want to say look at oil.
Oh, okay. Got
So, and if you remember, dash is, you won't get a match for dash, right? And if you won't get a match for dash, it will be NA, and as a result, you will only see one of the sort of trends. So this is sort of filtering as we do in Power BI, right? So I'm trying to mimic it in Excel if it makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So next thing that I'll ask you guys to try, and I'll also do this on the front end, is can anyone think of a way how we can compare a single parameter for multiple wells? Anyone has any ideas? Come on, guys, speak up if you want, if you'll not be able to learn properly.
Sir, I think we can do is that in one column we can create the well number 1 to well number 5, and then in the next column we can create the same data validation for all the properties.
Okay, and next, how would the lookup look? Will it be something different? Will it be the same? Or will we have to change something in the lookup? Because now, if you remember, first we were changing the parameters, right? In the columns, but now we'll have to change not parameters, but our wells for respective columns, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll quickly show you how that is done. And by the way, if you're wondering how I'm making copies of these sheets so quickly, is just hold control and drag whatever, hold control, click and drag whatever sheet you want to make a copy of. That is one way, and the second way is right clicking and move and copy. But this takes a lot of time, so I like to do it that way. All right. So what we'll do now is, since we know that our parameter is fixed, right? So I'll fix my parameter here, and I know that my well is not. So what I'll do is, come on, work with me, fix my well here. So I'm only showing it for it to you for 2 wells, but I hope you guys can understand that we can sort of do it for everything. How many wells, how many, no matter how many wells you have, you can easily do it. B2, C1. All right. So all I'll do this, is this. And again, since I'm very lazy, this is how I usually export my graphs, right? So I'll go to look up here. I'll just select one of them, cut it, go back to the new sheet, and I know that everything that is written is also here, right? So I'm just changing the references right from here. So if I do this, now the plot is for this particular sheet, right? So this is a very quick way of making charts or bringing over charts with formatting if you want to. So if I go here, there you go. So if I want to compare B2 and B4, this is how they look. B4 and B5, this is how they look. If I want to compare, say, gas for them, or oil for them, or produced water for them. Has anyone tried doing this in any other software before? Just out of curiosity. No one. Okay, interesting. So, and remember to periodically save your files. All right. Next thing I quickly wanted to sort of ask you guys is, do you guys know what a cross plot is? A simple cross plot. What does that technically mean?
So I believe that is the plotting between data points on the two axes, and then we derive some and we do some analysis on it, and then we derive some results on it. Like
Correct.
we have it in the porosity and permeability cross plot.
Yep. And yeah, and the reason why it's different from usual plots is because we don't have a time on axis, right? We have all the data or multiple parameters plotted against each other for all time usually, but time is not on any axis, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if I were to ask you to make a cross plot between, say, oil and water, how do you think you can do it? It's rather simple, but just give it a quick thought on how it would look. Maybe I should not have made a copy of this, rather this. Because we already have whatever we have here. I'll just remove other parameters. I'll do a lookup. All right. My keycap just flew away. Just give me a quick second. Okay, yeah, it's back. All right. Control X. Look up. So look up to. This is the wrong one. All right. Let's go up top. Reduce it to 1. Control X. All right. Hopefully out of all the things you guys remember to do this, because this saves a ton of time, especially if you have a lot of stuff which is formatted, and if you want to keep the same format. All right, and since this is a chart, I'll just change the chart type quickly to what we have here, and there you go. So we now have a cross plot between oil and water, and if I change oil and gas, it should change to oil and gas. It will not, because these are not changed. Just make sure whenever you're copying the files over, this can also happen. All right, yeah, there you go. So oil, gas, injected volumes. And this is how you change your axis as well, right? -2. Okay, so this instance was how you can make a cross plot, right? Since we are already running out of time, I'm not really sure if I'll be able to show you everything, but I had something prepared I wanted to quickly show you. All right. So there was one more dashboard that I quickly made. I'll sort of try to make it again. But if we run out of time, I'll quickly show you how it works here. All right. So what I have now is I'm essentially, come on. Well, parameters. Okay, perfect. All right. So perfect. And does anyone know how to write a formula for Sumif? Anyone ever used Sumif before? Okay, I guess not. Special transport values. All right. So this is how Sumif works, right? So if I were to write Sumifs, so what I'm trying to do is I'll try to sum. For example, some things can be average, but we'll change it later. All of these parameters for a particular well for a given date range. All right. So it is asking me for a sum range. So I'll go here and my sum range will be this. Then my criteria range one would be well. And my criteria one would be, if I go back to sheet 10, well, and then if I were to go to criteria range 2, that would be date. My criteria 2 would be, and this is how you write I write the criteria for this. Percent sheet 10 for, I'll copy all of this because I'll have to do the same, but in reverse for less than equal to, there you go. And so this will give me cumulative hours online. And if I were to drag it to the right and then to the bottom, it will give me cum of all of these things, right? For example, if I were to change the date here, this will change as well. The things on the top will change as well. And the next thing that I'll quickly do is, I see 2 messages in the chat. Okay. We have 4 more minutes. Let's see if we can get this done. All right. I'll quickly borrow some things from here just to make sure that I don't have to repeat anything. Okay. So what I'm doing essentially here is for a given parameter, right? I'll just make this a parameter as well. Select on your list sources. This I have just applied a lookup, so it will just give me values from here. So gas is 0. Let's be on oil for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a bubble plot. Okay, maybe not like that. Okay. This is another sort of quick and dirty way of putting a bubble chart. Again, I'm going fast here. I won't lie. So feel free to stop me if you have any questions. All right. So this is sort of aerially telling me in a sense which wells are where and how much they are producing, right? This is a very quick way of doing that. And next thing, since we are already out of time, I already have it prepared here. I'll quickly show it to you here. So for example, what I did quickly here is made another lookup sheet. And what this does essentially is using these dates, it filters the data. So if you see on the bottom here, it will filter the data for me, right? So if I were to drag this, it is just filtering the data for that many times. And all of these calculations are also changing. And so is the sizes of the balloons here or bubbles here, right? So this is what I wanted to sort of get done together, but since we are not able to do it, maybe we can pick it up in the next session. But yeah, this is another way of sort of visualizing quickly. So for example, if you are only interested in this period, it will sort of only show you the data for this period. It will show you the cumulatives, everything, and your oil rate. And if you want to say change it to gas, if you want to, so you can quickly take a look at which one was your biggest gas producer, which one was your biggest oil producer, and which one was your most watered out well, right? So I'll sort of stop it here for today. I had a Kahoot quiz as well, but since we're running out of time, maybe we can have it before the next session. But for now, I'll stop it here and see if you guys have any questions.
No, sir. If you could allow the next session, we can extend this. Maybe we can start the session at 6 if there is no issue.
Next session is on, can you remind me, is on 14th, right?
Yes, sir, I believe.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Yes, I will discuss and then I will inform you.
Sure. Okay, perfect. Again, if you have any questions, be prepared for it for the next week, I guess, or feel free to sort of let me know.
Also, to the attendance, the attendance link is in the chat box, so you can mark your attendance.
All right. With that, I think we'll hand it over to you, Rashmi, right?
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Again, that was a very interesting session because we saw the visualization in quite an interesting way. I mean, it was very clear whatever you were showing over here, the variations and everything. It was a very nice way to depict the data, and we definitely learned a ton of new Excel tools. Like I said in the previous session, I'll again go and do. Whatever you taught here, I would practice again, and I would recommend everyone out here to do that because it's quite helpful. I mean, I did that the previous time, and it was a really nice thing to do. And that was a very nice amalgamation of Excel and petroleum engineering. And again, I thank both of you for spending your time and teaching us some very important things. With that, I would call this a day. Stay safe, everyone, and good evening.
Right. Thank you all. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right.
Sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
See you guys next week.